Hello and welcome to How Curious from KGOU in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm Rachel Hopkin, and usually How Curious is a documentary strand that explores interesting Oklahoma stories. But we've had a number of listeners asking how Curious is made. So instead of doing what I usually do, which is asking a lot of questions, today I'm joined by KGOU's managing editor, Logan Layden, who's turning the tables on me. Hi, Logan.
Hello, Rachel. How are you doing?
I'm a terrible interviewee. I'm sorry in advance.
Well, let's find out. First, it sounds like you're not from around these parts. What led you to end up here in Oklahoma?
Okay, so I'm originally from the UK and I was a radio producer for the BBC there for a few years. Then I moved to the States in 2010. And part of the time since then was given over to getting a PhD in folklore. Once that was done, I was looking for a job where I could combine folklore and radio. And that's when the How Curious gig came up, and here I am.
And the show's history goes back beyond your time here, but I think what you've done with it, I think it's better than it's ever been. When you look at the episodes you've done so far, what sticks out? What are some of your favorites?
It's very difficult to answer that because I've said this before, but they're kind of like my children. So it's like you're asking me to say, tell me about a couple of your children that you really like. But let me see. Sometimes the episodes stick out for me because of the reaction I've got on them. One of them was about taking country music to the former Soviet Union, which was the work of impresario Jim Halsey, who started work when he was 19, is still working in his 90s. And this was a big deal in the 70s and 80s, and it was kind of heartwarming. Another one that sticks out to me is the Germans from Russia in Oklahoma. And maybe it's because of the dumplings I ate. I don't know what sticks out. Sometimes it's just the most recent episode, which in this case was about the Prairie House, and this fantastical structure created by an architect who was here during a very kind of important flowering of an architectural style.
Every one of them has been just fantastic. I love the Robbers Cave episode, the real life Lord of the Flies that happened down in southeast Oklahoma, just getting that historical audio and tracking down the people that are actually part of it. How do you go from idea to produced story that we all hear? Sort of take us through the process a little bit.
Each episode's different, and sometimes you get ideas from various sources. Sometimes they're my own, sometimes they're from listeners, sometimes they're from colleagues. And you don't know what's going to stick when you first start investigating. So you start making inquiries, you might even start recording interviews, and they still don't quite come together. What I do is record masses of material for each episode, and I kind of liken it to the process of making a stock. You gather tons and tons of bones and vegetables and liquid and other stuff, and you keep boiling and boiling away until hopefully you've got a really rich essence. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But yeah, it depends on multiple factors. Are there people who can speak to the subject with authority? Is there a cogent story that'll fit the time slot? Can I make it based on facts rather than just theory or conjecture? I think it would be less stressful if I knew better at the beginning.
Well, it's interesting that you put it that way, because I've thought about that too, sort of comparing even what we do in the news department to cooking, all the way down to, getting the ingredients right, to the presentation of it. It's a good analogy. You've got multiple shows in the works right now. Can you give us a bit of a preview what's coming in the next few months, or at least what at this point are we thinking could be coming in the next few months?
Well, one of the ones I'm working on at the moment is about rescue animals. So I foster kittens for Norman Animal Welfare, and occasionally the kittens I'm looking after are tagged to be transported to a shelter somewhere out west. And this is part of a regular thing of Oklahoma shelters sending animals to, say, Colorado or Washington or Oregon. And I'm fascinated by this. What makes it possible for these animals to find homes there which they can't find here? That's one. Another one is about how Waynoka, which is a town up near the Panhandle, became, for a short spell, a hub of transcontinental travel. There's another one about how Oklahoma City became a foment, if that's the right word, of karaoke music production. So those are three of the ones I've got in the works at the moment.
And of course, you're looking for ideas for future shows. You get them sometimes from your colleagues, sometimes via email. But, we want the listeners to get involved as well. How do they do that?
They just let me know at curious@kgou.org. I will say that sometimes it's quite a slow process getting from that initial suggestion to the program, but please know that I'm always interested in getting your ideas, and even if I can't get to them, it doesn't mean a lack of interest. It just means other things have risen to the surface. before that one.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to them all. If the previous episodes are any indication, these ones are going to be fantastic too. And you're here with us hopefully for many years to come. You're an Oklahoman now. You're one of us.
Oh.
Do you enjoy it here?
I think Oklahoma's like a really surprising and interesting place. I feel still very new here, but in a good way. Lots to explore.
Well, thanks for letting me take your show over for a few minutes here today, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you. So now I'll just sign off and I'll say that How Curious is a KGOU public radio production. I'm Rachel Hopkin, your managing editor, Logan Layden. David Gray composed our theme music, and we'll be back next month with another How Curious documentary episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Planet Money helps you understand the economy. We find the people at the center of the story.
Garbage in New York, that was like a controlled substance.
We show you how money influences everything.
Tell me what you like by telling me how you spend your money.
And we dig until we get answers.
I had a bad feeling you were going to bring that up.
Planet Money finds out. All you have to do is listen. The Planet Money Podcast from NPR.